Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Quite often I get asked to fix some very interesting items, and I think this week has probably been one of the strangest. I've had 3 items that are just bizarre to fix. So one is a torch, and I'll go on the overhead camera in a minute. This torch is a big torch, and it's simply one of the wires has simply become disconnected. So I'll switch over to the overhead and we'll just have a quick look. So it's simply the ground wire here has become disconnected from this board, if you can see that. But this board doesn't come out. So I think the way I'm going to have to fix this is with a set of hot tweezers. Snip this down and then put some hot tweezers on the actual point there and hope for the best on that one. So that's the first one, first interesting one. Now the next one is this. This is a control board. Now from what I understand from the customer, he said that this basically, it's a stone cutting machine, and that's how it controls the blades and everything like that. And the stone cutter uses water to stop the dust from flying everywhere. But there's actually been a leak in this, and it's, as you can see here, completely disintegrated the circuit board. That focuses. And then on the other side, it's not as bad on the other side. It's mainly all the damage is down at the bottom here. Now I have done some pre-testing on this, and what I've actually found is all of this row of capacitors are fried basically. So we're going to have a quick look under the microscope, I think. So we can see the original colour of the capacitors here, and then at first I was a little bit suspect about maybe these are just different colours, but when I've done my own testing on them, I've realised that actually they're not. This whole row here is shorted, and there's about 4 or 5. All of them are shorted, and then down at the bottom here, this is really where the damage is. If I focus in, we can see here all of these. Now these are all going to have to come off. I think I'm going to have to use solder mask to basically make this workable. Yeah, so all of this. Now some of these resistors and stuff are actually okay, but that's where the main damage is, all down at the bottom. So that'll be a second one. And then the last one is an interesting one. A friend of mine came back off holiday and his fridge freezer just completely stopped working. So he took it apart, pulled out the main logic board, and he brought it round. We did some diagnostics on it, and a common fault in these is a 5 amp diode. Well, it's a 2 amp diode that really should be a 5 amp diode. So yeah, it's a common fault in it. Now to buy a new board, it's like 120 quid. This was 5. So I think we're going to go with this and see if we can get it to work, which would be absolutely brilliant. There was a video about this board on YouTube, and everyone said, look, if you've got it, look in this area. So I'll release that tomorrow, but I think today we're going to try and do the flashlight. So let's move on to that. So this was the other component, and the component that we want off is right here. This little diode here. That's what we want to take off. That's the problem part. So I think this, well, first of all, let's get a tiny little bit of flux and let's just wet these joints to see if they'll come off a little bit easier. So it's these two right there. Now with this one I'm not too sure whether to put hot tweezers on it or simply pull out each side one at a time. So from what I'm seeing online as well, we need to then wick some of this off actually. Should have got a longer piece of wick. There we go, that's the diode off. Right, that's the old diode. I'll just put it in frame so you can see it. There we go. So that's the old diode off. So let's put the new one on. Now these are quite long, so I'm going to have to clip these. Probably buy this under pack. I'm going to do the bend before I do the snip. I think that's where I went wrong. I didn't do the bend before I did the snip, and therefore I didn't have any room to snip it. I've got some solder. This is actually quite thin solder, so I can curl it up and round it up a little bit. Bit of a min shot. Right, well, let's clean it up and see if we've got continuity. maybe a bit more stuck out than I wanted, but if it works, it works. That's the main thing. As you can see, it's a little bit more higher than I wanted on that side. That side's perfect, but this side's just a little bit too high for what I really needed it to be. The main thing is if it fits and works, if it fits in. Right, so when we tested this originally, what was happening is it was probed it backwards there. I'm thinking that doesn't look right. My probes are backward. Not checking. Fall in. I found this board quite particularly hard to diagnose, really. Right, well, I'm not seeing any of the errors that we had before, so I'm going to give my friend a ring and let him know that I've fixed it, and I'll ask him to do a quick short video to see if it's done.